This podcast is brought to you by The Shift.
It's story time!
Hello and welcome back to the Storytime Podcast. And this week I have with me Cian Griffin.
Hello.
Hello. Díagwit.
Díagwit, comes to too.
Eintok agus tú hain.
Come on. Not too bad.
So, Cian, tell everyone where people can find you on the internet and what you do.
Yeah, so I probably should have prepared for this because I hate describing what I do. But basically, you can find me at Gaylgeoiri, G-A-Y, Gaylgeoiri. Irish gay speakers, very groundbreaking there. And I basically just make memes and write in Irish, I guess. Trying to keep it funny, but yeah, I don't know. What would you describe me as?
Yeah, that's a fair Irish language content creator is what I would have described you as. Yeah, I think it's a great username. I think it's really clever. I was like, as soon as I came across it, I was like, oh, how did nobody think of that before? Like, although I keep trying to type, I keep misspelling it when I'm searching for you as well, even though I know like what it is. You know, I keep automatically putting GA.
Yeah, I've forgotten how to spell the real word because I write my own so much. Probably a bit narcissistic, but yeah.
So you have a story to share with us today that first got its airing on TikTok, but you're going to give us the full version, not the shortened one.
Yeah, and I apologize in advance because you're probably going to regret how much of power you're giving me to talk about the story. But yeah, so basically I got expelled kind of in my leaving cert.
Okay.
For a meme page, so some things never change. But bit of a preface. I know you probably wouldn't know based on the fact that like I wear wigs and heels and rap in Irish on Instagram, but I was not one of the cool kids in school. I mean, in primary school, I hung around with the cool kids just circumstantially, but then as life went on and we moved into our early teens and they started like riding girls in fields and drinking, I was like, oh, like not really my style. I'm going to eject. And then I kind of found my new friends and yeah, mean girls, like classic, oh, they're the losers. Don't talk to them. Something, and I just a warning, I'm going to reference
I love Mean
so
Girls.
many things.
I'm here for the Mean Girls references.
Okay, so yeah, like loser. And then as school went on, it was fine. But in fourth year, we kind of amalgamated. I'm not going to give any names in my
No,
school.
of course. Yeah, keep the details vague, yeah.
Somewhere in Wick City. But yeah, so
Wicklow,
we got
sorry, that's Wicklow, right?
Sorry, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to get shit for that. But yeah, am I allowed to curse actually?
Yeah, you're like curse all you want.
Cool. Then in like TY, we got this new principal, and I guess, have you seen Harry Potter?
I have, yeah.
So when Umbridge takes over Hogwarts, like that was our school. I swear to God, like Nazi camp, like marching in line, so like oppressed. Me, 16-year-old, being like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened.
To be fair, at 16, that'd be the worst.
Oh, awful. And like I feel like I need to build this guy up to the villain he actually was, so my actions are understandable. Like he was just not a good person. He made 3 of my teachers cry in front of me by shouting at them in front of the whole class. Like awful person. From Longford, I don't know if that's any.
He didn't have a huge amount of fans in the school. He wasn't. Yeah.
Among teachers, parents, students, everyone. He was a bad egg. And yeah, I think because we were so oppressed, more people were like me, like a loser was like, oh, like we need to do something. Like I'm just sick of submitting to this. It's shit. And at the time, there was these meme pages popping up on Facebook, things not to do on a Gap pitch, things not to do in Tesco, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, things not to do in insert school name here. And me and 3 of my friends did it together. And yeah, so we set it up on like a Friday evening after school. And we were just churning out memes like we had nothing else to do. We probably didn't. And I need to be careful because I don't incriminate any of the teachers.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
I was friendly with a lot of the teachers because I was a good student, whatever. And a few of my friends had like siblings or parents on the teaching staff. So I kind of knew some of the goss that was going on in the staff room. So a lot of the meme content was very like, I mean, we knew who had rode, who was like not talking to each other after a messy breakup, who was pregnant, who the teachers didn't like I knew way more than
The
I
good
should have.
shit, yeah.
The good stuff that you forget that exists. So we were churning that out, and like looking back on it, the engagement we got was crazy. Considering like what it's taken me 2 years to hit 10K, we hit like 8K in 2 days. Like it was crazy.
Wow.
Now,
There must have been other people. There must have been like maybe other students and like parents and stuff following that.
Yeah.
There couldn't. Was there even 8,000 in the school?
No, there was only 100 in my year, so
Oh Jesus!
like
yeah.
I'd say there was about 900 in the
There's
school.
probably students all around the country following you, thinking this is gas.
Maybe,
like,
yeah. But there was parents that I recognised. A few teachers followed it, and I was like, oh, this obviously, like
this means it's okay.
yeah, it's okay because the teachers are enjoying it, liking the memes, whatever. Oh, wrong. Oh God, I'm actually getting a bit of anxiety, even though this was like 7 years ago. So that was the Sunday. The Monday was a bank holiday, so like 3 days of just content creation was dangerous looking back. Tuesday morning, I remember going into the school and we were going to see On Trial in DCU. So this was 6th year. We were going to see On Trial, like
which
an
is
Irish
a Irish
play.
language play. Yeah.
That was on our syllabus, and it was my whole year on the bus. And obviously, this had stirred a lot over the weekend. Everyone
And now,
knew
did
about it.
anybody know it was you three?
No.
Okay.
But everyone was like, "Oh, Cian, like this is such your
This
work.
is a you thing.
This is so you. Like burn book for our school. This is you. Your name's written all over." And I was a bit like, my head was exploding. I was like, oh, like not denying it, but not explicitly saying, "Yeah, this is me." And my other friends were like, "Oh, Jesus, this is mad. Like it's really blown up." We got back. Now this is where the downfall begins. We got back on the Monday evening to the school, and the guards were at the school. And I was like, oh, that's really weird. I wonder what's happening. Now, my school, even though it was very fancy to look at, like it was a prison. Like people would set fire to lockers, smoke in the bathroom, like let off fireworks in the school. Like it was not a surprise. that the
Someone
guards
also
were
set
there.
fire to our bathrooms as well. What is it about
I don't know.
country schools and people setting fire to the bathrooms?
And we also had a.
I presume your coat rack was also in there because that's how they set fire to it. There was coats in there.
Oh no! They just I don't even know. I was literally in school like enjoying class, being like, oh, I can't go to the bathroom now until this is over. I don't want to miss economics. Like adult virgin, but like, well, yeah. I hope most people are virgins in school. Anyway, I digress. So I was like, oh, like not surprised the guards are here, but like, oh, I wonder who set fire to a teacher. And then someone came up to me who exemption from Irish. He hadn't been on the trip, so he came up to me and was like, "Oh, Cian, like the guards are here for you." And I was like, "Oh, lol, no, funny." And he was like, "No, seriously, like, they're here about the meme page. It's been reported for." Now, I feel like I don't want to drop this bombshell too early because it will be a while to like explain it.
Okay.
But basically, he was like, "It's been reported for child pornography," and I was like, "Oh God, what?" I was just like, "Oh shit, what is happening? This is definitely not right. What is happening?" But I was like, "It's okay. No one knows it's technically me." Oh, anyone that listens to this is going to be raging at how long it takes me to explain why that mistake was made. But we'll get there. I was like, "Oh God, this is really bad." But like, it'll blow over. So
Yeah, they had no proof at this point. It was you.
yeah, nothing.
But obviously, a couple of people suspected.
The whole year suspected me, and I'd say the teachers that were on the trip with us kind of overheard a bit of bus goss. But yeah, no one knew it was me, so I was fine. Monday evening, went home, didn't think anything about it.
Or Tuesday evening.
Oh, sorry, Tuesday
Yeah.
evening. You're right. Tuesday evening, went home, didn't really think about it. Continued to post memes. Ooh. Never learn.
I haven't been got yet.
I was just like, I need to hit 10K. Like this would be like groundbreaking, hitting it in less than a week.
To be fair, I imagine that was really exciting.
I was like, whoa, what the hell? That's so many people. But then when I went home, I was just browsing through the comments, and I'd noticed, like, Psycho would notice this, that some of the teachers weren't following it anymore. And I noticed a few of the teachers had deleted comments, so I was like, oh, that's a bit strange.
Deleting their footprints.
Yeah, and I was like, oh. Then Wednesday rolled around, went into school, like everyone was talking about it, the whole school. People were like, it was like I was walking in slow motion, holding my books through the halls, and everyone was like, that's ASMR. That's him. And I was like, oh shit, like what is happening? Went to class, like every single class was spent talking about this. The teacher spoke to us about it, like what is happening? Do you know what's happening? Do you know who's behind it? And I was like sitting in my
the
seat,
fear.
like me, acne everywhere as it was, sweating, like because everyone in the class was like, oh, it's Cian. I was like, oh no, please stop, like yeet me out of this eject seat. I cannot be here. And as the day went on, it got worse and worse. And then I'll just never forget what really stands out was the last class of the day on the Tuesday, religion. And the teacher that taught us was like one of my friends. That's so cringe. Was one of the teachers I was friendly with. And she had also been expelled in her Leaving Cert year. She never told us why, but she was like talking about it in relation to her and was like, oh, like I just know whoever's responsible for this is really gonna pay. They're gonna make an example out of him. And I was sitting like in the desk right in front of her, like sweating. And then later on, when this all blew over, a few months later, she took me aside and she's like, I knew it was you based on how guilty you looked that day. Like you were ready to jump out of your body. But so that teacher knew it was me. The whole class was like basically confirming to the school it was me. And I was like, oh, this is really bad. Then that day in evening study, so like 2 hours of extra.
I used to do that as well, yep.
Like that, this is the kind of person I was, so very out of character. Got pulled out of evening study by a teacher. And this is where the plot thickens. Got pulled out of evening study by a teacher and was like, Cian, you can't tell anyone this. I could lose my job for showing you this. But this is a letter that's being sent out to all the parents tomorrow morning. Basically, the guards are going to investigate who did this. They're not going to stop until they find it out. I think you need to confess to minimize the damage because they're going to catch you. So you need to just come clean. So at least you've got honesty on your side. And I was like, oh, like ready to vomit on the floor. Panic stations. And then I went back into night study with the letter in my underwear. So I was like, I can't let anyone see this. She could lose a job. At that point, I didn't know if I was going to confess. I was just shitting it. So I had it, like, I was replaying it in my mind, what the letter said. They were going to contact Facebook. They were going to, like, in hindsight, they couldn't have done anything. There was 4 of us, different IP addresses. Actually, maybe they could. I'm not smart.
Well, just with the benefit of like my personal experience, I went into the guards once, and I've spoken about this before, and I complained about rape threats on Twitter, like really serious. Like I kept blocking him, he kept creating new accounts, and he knew where I worked. And the guard was like, "Well, what do you want us to do about it?" And I was like, "Can you not like trace his IP address?" And then he was like, "No, we can't do that here." So like now I'd be like, risk it for a biscuit. But
Yeah.
but back then, like I got caught with a similar thing. Well, not a similar thing, but we were basically we were underage drinking, and one of my friends had a list of like the drinks that we were going to get for that weekend, or try to get anyway. And her parents found it, and they basically gave us the ultimatum of confess or we'll tell your parents. And I totally fell for that and went, and then they never told the parents.
Yeah.
So I would have done this. I would have been 100%. The minute I got that, I would have been in the guard station admitting it.
and actually, like, just thinking back, I was sitting in night study just with my thoughts, silence, everyone just working around me. Like, I could hear the pencils on the page. I was like, I could hear my heartbeat. I was like, what am I going to do? And this is so cringe to admit, but that was honestly the mindset I was in. I was like, I'm either going to have to like change my name and move country, or like commit suicide. I was like, there's nothing. Wow. Yeah, I was no, like ridiculous.
To be fair, teenagers do go straight to the worst.
I was like, my life is over. I can't get into college. I'm never going to have a job.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think how scary that might be. You might thought that it might have been on your record.
Yeah,
you know,
do
this
we even have permanent records?
I don't know. But there was this real idea of this permanent record
like,
going around when we were teenagers, wasn't there?
I was like, without evidence, without like, it's not real, but it's going to say in my permanent record that I'm guilty for child pornography. Like that, and I want to be, at
so
that point,
scary,
I wanted to be a teacher.
you knew at this point, you're right, that they were looking for child pornography, didn't you?
And I was like, because it's not just memes anymore, they think it's porn in a school. Like that was the issue. There was access to pornography on the school computers. So that's what was stirred a few feathers. So I was like, this isn't just a meme page. Like maybe the guards will actually really investigate this because they think it's child pornography. So I was like, if I've got that, I'm never going to be a teacher. Like my life's over. Honestly, I was near tears. That was the longest 2 hours of my life. Then I went home and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to confess. So I was like, Mom, can I tell you something? And like,
How did you break this one to her?
I was like, so I made a meme page. She was like, right, what's that? I was like, it's like funny jokes on Facebook. Okay. I was like, and the guards were in our school because of it. She was like, what? I was like, and like, I could be arrested for child pornography. She's like, what the fuck? What? What? Cian, you stupid fucking idiot. What the fuck are you doing? And I was like, oh, like sweating. Like my body turned to stone. I was like, oh, this is shit. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
that
no.
really went from 0 to 1.
Like it literally flipped like a switch and she went absolutely nuts. My dad, who doesn't really care about that, he was just like, oh, like, Cian, that's bad. And I was like, yeah, I know.
Love
it's
dads.
bad. That's why I'm here. So we made a plan. We were like, right. I told them everything. I showed them the means. But like, and not that they... Yeah, like I could see my mum was kind of smiling at some of them, and I was like, okay, this is, we need to kick this out of us because we need to go in there like prisoners tomorrow. Like this is the worst that's ever happened. Anyway, so I'm really bad. That was the Wednesday. So Thursday morning, I go in with my mum before school and straight into the principal's office. Oh God, it actually gives me shivers thinking about it because I was like, my stomach was hanging out of my ass.
say.
It was intense. So the vice principal was there and I was like, oh, I have something to say. And at this point, the guards were in the school again. The place was nuts. Like, this was still all anyone was talking about. Oh, God. I was like, oh, and I confessed on his face. Like, from me, so me with my prefect badge shining on my thing, I made this. And he was like, you what? And then intercom on, can... name of the principal, come to the office, please. We've got a very interesting discovery.
So, sorry, who did you confess to?
The vice principal.
Vice principal, sorry.
And he called the principal over the intercom, and I was like, oh, this is bad. He came in and went psycho. Like, the way he screamed at the teachers, he was screaming at me, and my mum was a bit like, relax.
Yeah.
He's coming to you with what you need. He's confessing. He's admitting that this was a mistake. And the prince's like, mistake? Are you delusional, woman? Like, shut up. And like, he told him to shut up and he called her delusional. So she like, then she flipped again. She was like, all right, you can't talk to me like that. You can't talk to him like that. And then all the blame left from her. She was completely on my side.
Yeah, Irish mammy, yeah.
She was like, I was sitting there sinking into my chair while my mum and the principal were roaring at each other across the table. Oh God, honestly, I'm getting a bit anxious thinking about it still. Anyway, he was like, you're getting expelled for this. This isn't like, you're getting expelled. No question. Like, you're going to be brought.
And can I just ask, at this point, did you understand why they were calling it child pornography?
No.
Okay, you're getting there.
I didn't know for sure that. Okay, wait. Until the letter, I didn't know for sure that that's why it was such a big deal. So he was like, this is very serious. Like, this is over for you. Like, you're out of this school. And I'm a bit like, people do things way worse. Like, people are literally setting fire to the school daily, throwing computers out of the 3rd floor window, and they're not even getting like a telling off. I'm like going from like class nerd to like criminal offense. And then he basically told my mum to leave because she was so heated. She went home and they were like, we're going to talk to Cian for a few hours and then we'll send him home. So they brought me into this back office, which was like really secluded, no windows, very like CSI Miami. And they were coming in doing good cop, bad cop kind of, but it was just like two variant levels of bad cop. And the psycho principal was like, this is over for you. Like, really getting into my head, being like, and I was like bawling, crying. As soon as my mom left, I was bawling, crying. He was like, you're over. You're never going to college. And like really horrible stuff to be telling a child. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to jail. I'm going to juvie. Is juvie a thing here?
I don't even know. I think it presumes so.
It must be. And I was like, oh, this is really bad. And so 9:00 a.m. had rolled around and all the school was arriving. The classes were starting and I wasn't in the like sign in for our tutor class. So my friends messaged me being like, oh my God, Cian, what do they say? Because I told the people responsible for the page that I was going to confess. And that they didn't have to, I'd take the heat because I didn't think it was going to be as bad as it was. And then suddenly it was like, you're getting expelled. And I was like, oh, maybe you should confess. And the two of them came, 2 of the 3 in fairness, there was 4 of us. One of them had nothing. Like he didn't do anything, so he was kind of off the hook. The other 2 came into the room I was in, which I thought was crazy. I was like, I'm being interrogated here. You cannot be here, because if the principal comes back, you're gonna get roped into this. So they came in. I was bawling, crying. I was just like, just go, just
Leave me.
It's over for me. And then at that point, I was kind of flip flopping between, should I take the heat, or will it be better if we split the blame? And I think based on what the principal had just said to me, whatever it was in my head, I thought it wouldn't make a difference how many of us were involved. All of us would get expelled. So I was like, look, you might as well not get involved. So they left, and I was kind of regretting it, but I was like, snitches get stitches. Already in the prison mindset, like I need to be tactical here. And then he was like, okay, right. He came back into me and he was like, you're going to have a hearing in 2 weeks in front of the board of management. They're going to decide if you'll be expelled, but like you're getting expelled. And I was like, okay. Then he's like, okay, right, go on. Meaning go home. Me, like never even getting a detention before, not understanding the protocol and going back to class for the day. All the teachers like, oh my God, Cian, what's happening? What's happening? I was like, I confessed. And one of my teachers that was like quite friendly with me, like she had my number. I'm still in contact with her kind of every now and again. She pulled me out of one of my classes and was like, Cian, like the staff room was hell today. It was like, now that everyone knows it's you officially, it was like a courtroom. Half the teachers were roaring that you should be expelled, and the other half were like defending me.
Yeah, being like, relax.
Yeah. Now in fairness, I had exposed. So there was one particular teacher that was really angry with me. So she was one of the teachers that kind of got pregnant every other year. So we never had her as the teacher she was. So we had a different teacher every year. And one of my memes was like, things not to do in X, expect to have Mrs. X for more than 6 months at a time. Something like that. She was livid. She was like, apparently she was like leading the witch hunt, like screw expulsion, get him jailed. She was like, it's really bad. And then
that's really funny. I think I would have found that funny if it was me.
I would have, if I was a teacher, I would have been living for that drama.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was in a class at the time. I was in a class with the teacher I had slated the most. Like, I mean, I had destroyed him. He pure country farmer. Like, I think he's from Wexford. Proper like slurring his words with his accent. Like I don't know how he's a teacher, and that's what all the memes are about. He was like kind of not acknowledging it, and I was like, oh, that's almost worse. And then I got pulled out of the class by the teacher. So sorry, I'm telling this wrong chronologically. I was in that class, and then my teacher that was my friend pulled me out. And in the middle of her talking to me, so she was one of the teachers that the principal had made cry before. The principal walked down the hall and found her talking to me outside the classroom. It's like, what are you doing here? And I was like shaking. She was like, oh, I'm just, and like she just sprouted a lie on the spot, like, oh, I'm just giving Cian some of the economics papers. Like, just it was more of a flow than what I just said, but it was like perfect. And he was like, okay, you go back to your class, to the teacher, and like just dismissed her. She was like, all right, and waddled away with her tail between her legs. And then he was like, you, what the hell are you doing here? You were supposed to go home. Get out of my school. And I was like, started crying again. Shocker. Aww. Went back into my class, like bawling, crying, packing up my glitter, my gel pens. And took me out. Then my mum came and collected me. That was that. Heard nothing for that day. Then we got the letter in the post being like, we're investigating child pornography. Oh God, like that itself is a statement and a half. The first day of suspension, so I got suspended indefinitely.
Okay.
Until I got expelled. And on the first day of suspension, I remember my dad and me going to the St. Pat's open day. And I was like in the car, like, oh my God, everyone knows I'm a criminal. Like, why else would I be here? They know I'm suspended. I'm never going to get in. Like, crazy thoughts in my head. I'm like, I'm going to have to leave the country. I'm just going to have to start a new life with some, like, like, it's so pathetic thinking about it. But this was the end of my world.
Yeah, I can see how you'd think that as a teenager, though, big time.
Honestly. So I was just, like, flat out studying the Gaylgeoiri. Like... I was like, this is great. I can use this time to study. Cringe. Because at that point, this was November. The end of November. So Yeah. Using my time to study, going to college open days, like proper loser. But being clever about my time. Then the hearing rolled around. Now, board of management. This was a Catholic school. So there was about 18 people on the board of management. I'd say about 12 of them were either nuns or priests.
Oh, ideal.
I was like, oh, great. Like,
I'm trying to explain memes.
yeah, to old people. The average age in the room was, I'd say, about 50. I was like, this is bad. So they were all like lined up in a U shape in front of me. And including that was like teacher representatives and parents association representatives. And the two teachers were like dry. They were on the team that's like, this is wrong. Then at the top of the room was like the principal and the vice principal and myself and my parents on their side. And I remember, actually, I don't think I remember this until right now, but they gave us a big booklet of what was going to happen in the board of management meeting, and they were like, read this. And my dad hadn't read it, and my mum, before we went in, my mum was like, do not say a word. Just, you keep your mouth shut. You haven't read it. You're going to make a show of us. Don't say a word. And my dad was like, I'm not going to do it. And like, fuck off. My mum had like studied every single word on the page. My dad hadn't even looked at it. It was like a bother for him to be there. He was like, this is stupid. We went in and my dad opened with something that completely contradicted what had been so explicitly stated, like explained. And my mum was like, for fuck's sake. And all the nuns were like, so that was already strike one against us. Like, we were criminals. My mom, like, bad parents. This is all that, like, oh, I feel sick. I got a picture here. I don't know if I can show you.
Well, you can show me, but like, are you allowed to?
Yeah. So this is the meme. So for the meeting, the child pornography meme was blown up into an A3 print, so we could show what it was and like be like, here, come on, like, this is not porn. This took me hours to track down. So
it looks like a lad watching porn on the computer.
Yeah, so in our library we had computers, and one of the like jokes people did was find risque images and set them as the desktop background. So what you seen was the desktop background of the computer. And it was a man, like a shirtless man hugging, like kind of kissing the neck of a woman. I mean, I think it's...
And you can see her arse, that's pretty much...
No. That's what they thought. But it's just the flap of skin between the arm and the back.
Oh, it's not, is it?
Yeah, so that's what my mom was trying to show. She was like, look, and she didn't explain her with words what was happening. She was just holding this piece of like this picture up in the air, pointing at it. All the nuns were like, oh, like I was like, get to your point, because they think you're just like, this is so bad. She was like, this isn't porn. You'd see more nudity on a yogurt commercial on TV. Like, this is ridiculous. But she didn't get to the point, and they were all like eyes bleeding, like crucifix, like, this is hell. The principal was like, look at it. Like, anyway, mom was like, this is the flap of skin between the arm and the back. This is not porn. And by then, the ones that weren't crying were like, okay. So that was fine. That was explained. Then we moved on. They were like, okay, that's not the issue anymore. No porn. Great. So that was me. I'm not going to jail for child pornography.
On the bright side.
I can't believe I'm saying that sentence. So then it just moved on to like the other side of it. Like, you made a burn book about your teachers. You revealed who was pregnant, who was dating, blah, blah. It was bad. So, but then obviously I was like, it's okay. I'm not getting expelled. In the end, I got 3 months suspension.
Okay.
Which... now this is so narcissistic, but the worst part of this was one of my classmates was on The Voice of Ireland.
Okay, where's this going?
So the TV crew was coming into our class, and I was like, there's my chance gone. I'm not going to be a TV star.
Fuming.
Oh God, I was fuming. And he made it quite far on the Voice, and I was like, that could have been not me. That couldn't have been
but
me.
you could have been in the background.
I could have been a secondary character in this. Stealing the limelight. But then, yeah, so 3 months, unsurprisingly, dragged when you're just studying, especially with Christmas in the middle, because the Christmas holidays annulled 2 weeks of the...
Yes.
So that dragged across. And basically, I came back to school just before the mocks.
Oof.
So, like, stressy
You've also missed
Betty.
quite a lot of classes in a very important year of your schooling.
And like, not to like suck my own dick. Can I say that? Not to suck my own dick, but like me losing out on the amount of points I went from my mocks to my leaving cert really caused our year's average to drop. So like that looks so bad on the school that like they sent one of their top students out, and I dropped like over 100 points, between 150 even, between the real thing and or the fake mocks and the real thing.
So you did 150 points better on your mocks?
Yeah.
Even after being off for that long?
I think, yeah, I don't know. I think it was because I was really, I mean, I don't actually understand the correlation between that now that I think about it. I think it was just because I was flat out studying. Or maybe,
well, no, to be fair, in between the mocks and the leaving cert, you actually would have had more stuff to learn on top of trying to catch up. So I can totally see that would have been like overwhelming.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it. So I was studying basically, in our mocks, we were only examined on fifth year stuff, I think.
Yeah. So it's only, you're not on the new stuff.
And
yeah,
then,
I remember that actually.
So I suffered massively. I mean, thankfully I had a bit of an epiphany during my time in prison, and I was like, this is what's really important to me. I don't want to be a teacher, even though I kind of still do. But yeah, I realized I didn't need as many points as I thought I would. Oh, the leaving cert's another thing to talk about, but yeah, moving on. Basically, I turned out fine. It was fine. But look at me now. 7 years on, still shiting on about it. But I remember, this just really stands out to me. By the end of my suspension, like the anxiety of returning to school.
Oh, I'd say it was huge.
Huge. And I like, obviously I'd handed my prefect badge. I was like, I went from, I went from
like one of those cop movies where it's like, hand in your badge.
Oh yeah, that was me. I was like so ashamed to hand in my badge because, oh God, so cringe even think about that now. But I remember the day before I went back, I was like, all right, I need a fresh fade before I go back to school. Like, I need to get my hair cut. And the haircut in Wick City, there was a new hairdresser from Poland, and she, I don't know, her English wasn't great. She didn't hear what I said properly. And she gave me a zero shaved head all over.
Oh no.
So then when I went back, everyone was like, oh, Cian spent his suspension in Auschwitz. So that was like, that was like the meme.
That's real Irish humour.
That was like, that was me. Oh, but then I remember one of the
and that
teachers,
would have been the kind of thing, ironically, that would have ended up on the meme page.
My biggest regret is deleting the meme page. I wanted to pull up some evidence to show and then put on TikTok and be like, this is harmless fun. But the last thing,
at least you had a copy of the offending one,
because we printed that out. That was in my bedroom wall for like 2 years afterwards, being like, but I was so ashamed. And then the final like chapter was one of the teachers that was like so scary. She was one of the teachers on the parents board. She pulled me aside on my first day back and was like, Cian, like, you've done your time. Completely forget about this. Don't let this affect your school life. You're a great student. The teachers, like, understand it was a mistake. Don't be paranoid. Just enjoy your last 5 months in school. And I was like, oh, that was really nice, because I was dreading to see her the most. Because I did feel like a criminal. I was like, I've let them all down. Like, I went from...
The disappointment is like when someone says they're disappointed in you, especially when you're a teenager. I remember I like wrote a blog once and someone was like, I'm very disappointed with what was in that. And I took me years to get over it.
Honestly, and I don't know why, because in school, like looking back, the amount of things I cared about, like...
How did we have time?
And like the fake authority that teachers have, like they have no power, and you're like they're like, tie that shoelace, and you're like... It's so ridiculous. I would love to rewind time, or like go back in time and possess my younger self to be in that office just to give the principal a piece of my mind. He was a dick. And then, that year was actually fine. I went back to classes. A few of the teachers didn't like me, but all the teachers that taught me and knew me personally were like, either you did your time, or I think they completely overreacted with that. My final thought was going into that I don't know if I mentioned it. Oh, yeah, my ag science class, the teacher that I'd really tore to shit online. I can
cut out the ag science mention if you want. Yeah, so just start the sentence again.
So I went back. I remember my last class of the week was with the teacher that I really like roasted on that page. Like, rest in peace. You are like, I destroyed him. I ruined his career. And I remember walking into the class and he was like, Griffin! And I was like shaking. And he was like, fair play, boy.
No way.
Yeah, he was one of the ones. He was like, that was fucking ridiculous. Like, why do they care about that? There's real shit happening in this school and they care about you. Sit down. And that was it. And life went on and I moved to college and then I flexed about this in pre-drinks. Made friends. But yeah, that's it. I'm a convict. I survived jail.
Oh, well, at least they let you go back. Because imagine trying to find a new school in Leaving Cert.
I know.
Be horrendous.
That would have been rough. I probably would have just studied from home. Are you able to do that?
I don't know the answer to that. I obviously now you are, but I don't know if you would have been able to do that beforehand. I don't think so. I think you have to get like special approval to homeschool your kids.
Oh, right.
Although I don't know, maybe if they got expelled, that's like automatic approval.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's my time making meme pages and paying for it.
So yeah, so where you're OG on the internet and even ended up in front of the guards for it already.
Oh gosh.
Thank you so much for coming in to share this story. It was a really good story.
No worries. Thanks for having me. It's kind of I'm feeling so many things right now, reliving this. I'm like dreading going out in public and be like, oh my God, they know I was suspended. No one knows who I am. But yeah, that's me. Thanks for having me.
And I'll put a link to the TikTok down in the description. And can you remind everyone where to find you?
Yeah, you can find me everywhere, but mainly on Instagram at Gaylgeoiri.
And come here, you have a podcast as well, do you not?
Not yet.
Not yet.
So,
Oh, sorry, have I ruined?
No,
can
well,
I leave that in?
It's been announced. Yeah, you can. It's been announced, but remember my little B4?
Yes.
That kind of knocked my confidence a bit, and I'm working on. I suppose I can say, I'm working on a book at the moment that is taking up a lot of my time. So I'll move on to the podcast eventually, and yeah.
Amazing. Well, the way
Stay
to keep
tuned.
up with you is to go to Gaylgeoiri, spelled Gay at the start,
Yeah, Sinead.
and just follow you there, and you'll have all your when you launch all these things that you work on.
Stay tuned. I feel like a proper
yeah.
exciting things
I
to
can't tell you
come.
about it yet. Thank you so much for watching. We're
for having
on Google Podcasts, iTunes, YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. Please consider becoming a patron if you're not already. This is how we keep this show on the road. And thanks to the shift.ie for supporting the podcast. Thank you very much, Griffin. Griffin, I called you.
That was my name in prison.
I feel like you're your teacher. I feel like your teacher. I almost said the class there as well. Yeah, thank you very much, Cian, for coming on. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Slán.
This podcast was brought to you by The Shift. For more like this, check out theshift.ie.